Hi, everybody. I have a really special guest here today, and we think we might be echoing a little bit, so we start over. But I just want to introduce my friend, Dan Fowler. I adore Dan. Dan has quite the story for us. Now, we do know it's Lyme disease awareness month, but he does not have Lyme disease, okay? But he does have a very, very interesting story. Dan, actually, I did not know this. He actually had a heart attack a year before he had a stroke. And he actually is kind of the overcomer. Yes, he's an overcomer. And I just adore him. And he's been in interactive media production for 27 years. He's developed proven systems to help entrepreneurs and other business owners actually change internally and externally also. So I'm going to let Dan introduce himself and tell his story because it is quite the story. And he has some good news on his progress too. Take it away, Dan.
Hey, thank you so much, Jenny. I appreciate the time and on your show. Yeah, I mean, the heart attack thing was 2017. So that was December 1st, 2017. Getting off an airplane in Long Beach, California, and I knew something was really wrong. I didn't know quite what it was, but it had the telltale signs of like, oh, this could be a heart attack, and I was kind of surprised by that. But I got to the hospital in time and all of that good stuff, and they were able to fix me up in the sense of they put 2 stents in my heart, opened me back up, and the doctors actually said the only reason that you probably are alive is because you have an extremely large heart. And it was, I was like, what? Like physically, a large heart, like it's actually large. I mean, I'm a large guy. I'm 6'7", but I mean, this is a large. Well, you have a large heart, and it's not like in a bad way. It's just you need that for the size of your body. I'm like, okay, and there's the way my heart is shaped was why it was able to get enough blood through my system to be able to not pass. I didn't pass out. I didn't have immense pain. It was kind of a surreal experience. But anyway, I was in the hospital for 3 days, and then I was out. And then on the road to recovery, and about a couple months later, I was like, I don't know, 5-6 months later, we had Imagination IQ in Denver, Colorado. That was the last Imagination IQ in 2018. And then shortly after that, 5 months after that, in October 7th, 2018, that's when the stroke hit me. And I was sleeping at the time. It was 4:30 in the morning, and I woke up. It kind of like just woke me out of my sleep. And I didn't know what was going on. I thought what had woken me up was that I was laying on my arm because my arm was numb and I couldn't really feel it or really do much with it. You know how that feeling is with the pins and needles and all that. And that's what was going on with my arm. And I was like, all right, let me get out of bed here and shake this off. But I had no strength with that arm. Even though when you lay on your arm, you can actually do stuff with it. I couldn't do anything with it. And I actually fell out of bed. And in the process of going toward the floor and falling out of bed, I actually smashed my head into the dresser that's like right next to the bed. And I was like I kind of face planted right in the drawer.
Yeah.
But and I was on the floor just face down, and I was I just felt very weak and very vulnerable at that point because I couldn't physically do much. But then I focused and I was able to get up on my feet. I stood up from the ground. I grabbed the windowsill and helped myself pull up. Went to the restroom and assessed my situation. I was still standing, and I noticed that my speech was starting to slur. So I thought I would test it, and I went to my Google and I would speak to it. But Google didn't know what the hell I was talking about. It didn't know what I was saying. I was like, "Oh, this is bad. This is not good." So I woke up, went and woke my wife up. Said, "Hey, there's something wrong here. I think that there's a stroke happening. I'm not sure, but I think we need to go to the hospital right now." And so I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm obviously, this is not good. I'm not going to go back to bed. Not going to just flush this off.
But you thought about it. You said you thought about it. You told me that you thought about it.
I did. Before I woke my wife up, I had thought about just getting back into bed. And if I had done that, I probably would not be here sitting talking with you. So I'm glad I didn't. Common sense was still there. I still was thinking clearly, somewhat clearly. Got me to the hospital. Yeah. They said, definitely there's a stroke happening here, and it was an ischemic stroke. And so at least it wasn't like just hemorrhaging everywhere. So that was good. Got all the, the CAT scans and the MRIs and all that fun stuff to find out where it was, what's going on. And then eventually, I was like, had to come to the realization that, yeah, okay, I have this involved side, this left involved side. I couldn't walk anymore. I lost the ability to walk. By the time I got to ER, I couldn't walk. I couldn't lift my arm, couldn't do anything with that. And of course, my speech was really slurred, so that was hard to talk. And, I had all those normal symptoms. And then got in, because I was showing promise of like, I had a drive. I just do. That's just how I naturally go. They put me in a special rehab program because they thought I could handle it. It was like intensive rehab for 30 days straight.
Right.
So I went to a special hospital for this, and 30 days straight of rehab every single day, trying to get me to the point where I could walk again. And, initially I was like, couldn't walk. They had to put me in one of those big old diaper things that are attached to the ceiling to actually hold me up, because I'm 6'7", and like most of these PT people couldn't handle 250 pounds of Dan.
Hey Dan, they can't handle you anyway. Come on, be honest. And Dan, will you please let everybody know how old you are, because I think that's a really key point in this, because he's under 50. He wasn't even 50. Sure. He wasn't even, he's like just over 45, right? Probably 45.
Oh, no, when I had the heart attack, I was 44. And so today, in about a couple of weeks, my birthday's in June. So a couple of weeks, I'll be 48. So it's been about a 4-year process between the heart attack to now. Heart attack, then the stroke, and then, here I am. Anyway, so I was finally got to the point where
Tim Stone just said he thought you were 21.
You thought I was 21? Wow. Well, thank you. I haven't been parted in a long time, but I mean, hey, I'll take that.
That's nice, though.
21, no, I wouldn't. Well, thank you. At least I don't show it too much.
I just got to shout out to Jenny's happy clap. So let's go.
Happy clap.
The happy clap is because I'm so happy that you're still here with us. Nancy missed the beginning part, but Nancy, Dan is a friend of mine, and Dan actually had a stroke. We were talking about this morning, and he actually has done really well. He's going to tell us more about that in a minute, but he is definitely a go-getter for sure. So anyway, please proceed. Sorry that I interrupted you. I just want everybody to know it was late.
Anyway, they were putting me in that big diaper that's attached to the ceiling because I couldn't walk myself, and we were doing PT. And then I overheard a group of PTs that were on my case talking with each other, talking to my wife, telling her that they were very leery of or hesitant to actually give her any hope that I would actually walk by the time I'm done with the program.
Wow.
The problem with this was I heard it. That was the problem. I heard it. I'm like, that's not going to be my fate. No, sorry. That's not going to happen. And so I just put the nose to the grindstone and said, what do I have to do to maximize my results and or get walking, at least with a cane, quad cane or whatever, to be able to walk on my own accord, getting out of here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, they told me what I need to do. I just focused on that, meditated on that. I'm like, all right, I'm here. This is my job right now. I have no other concerns except for walking again, being able to get to the point where I can get out of here, because I don't like hospitals. I don't think anybody does. I was like, I want to get out of here, and I want to be able to walk and not be a hindrance to my wife, to other people, and maybe find a semblance of my life again. And sure enough, within about a week before I was to be released, so it's a 30-day program. So like the third week in, I was able to be walking with a quad cane, by myself. They were there, of course, making sure I don't fall on my butt. And, didn't have any falls like that. I was doing good. The first couple of months coming back home they were difficult, because it's like everything was taken care of for you in the hospital, of course. And now it's like, all right, now you're home. It's like the shock of that going, all right, I actually have to do things myself or have other people do them for me. And then the next level of progression that I had to jump into is that I did not want to have my wife be bogged down with taking care of me. That, not that I wouldn't receive that, it was hard for me to receive it, but I mean, not that I didn't want help and assistance when I needed it, but in areas that I knew I could progress and do myself, I wanted to make sure that I was able to do that. So I took steps to do that. I mean, just the simple stuff that we take for granted, like going to the restroom yourself and all of that stuff. Being able to wash your hands, being able to take a shower. That was actually one of the last things I decided, because for a long time I wasn't able to take a shower for myself. So 2-3 months into it, I was still needing assistance to do that. And so I just made the choice one day. So you know what? I can stand up on my own without a cane, and I can take steps, not really walk really well at that point. And I decided, you know what? I can hold my balance. So I am going to take a shower by myself. I told my wife I was going to do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in the shower myself. I'm going to take a shower. I'll stay around close by in case I'm in trouble. But I want to do this. And if I'm going to do it 3 times in a row. And if I feel comfortable all 3 times, then this is the new norm. This is what's going to happen. And you are no longer going to be needed to take, help me wash myself.
Right.
And that's just how it happened. I just started slow. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Let me try this. Let me try this next thing. Let me add a little bit more. Let me add a little bit more. And now it's been about a 1.5 years or more where shower is now just a common thing. Obviously for all of us that is, but I walk in the shower, I walk out of the shower, dry myself off. I do everything myself. And so it's
Dan,
little by little.
Is that this way you written your book? I'm gonna pull it back here.
This is actually, it was one of the reasons. It was also the principles that are in the book are things that I use on a daily basis, on a weekly, monthly basis. Like, how do you have resilience? How do you have a reserve of resilience? Because when stuff like this happens, or do you go into depression, or are you able to stand firm and go, okay, what's next? Yeah. All right, I'm ready for the next thing. I have enough equity built up in my my resilience to be able to do that.
Right. Exactly. But I think it's very interesting because it's a really thick book. I think everybody should buy it. I think everybody should buy this book.
It's a totally quick read. It's the information that's in it.
I just got it yesterday in the mail. But there are 7 different skill sets. If you want to talk to people about that he's talking to people about. And I think it's very interesting. I think it ties, honestly, I feel like this all ties into your Imagination Institute, because no, you weren't supposed to have a heart attack. No, you weren't supposed to have a stroke. But having those 2 things, do you think that's helped you write the book?
It's helped it bring it to the forefront. These are principles that I've been using all my life too. Right. So it's not like they just magically came to me for the stroke time. It was like they were utilized heavily during those times, of course, but I have used them at various hard points in my life as well. It doesn't just mean if a health situation comes along. There's other situations in life that happen that you might have to bear down and pull out your resilience on too.
Right. So Robert, that's okay.
Oh, go ahead,
I was just going to tell you, Robert just wrote, yes, but you both have to realize that you're not a burden on that person that you love and that loves you. Did you ever think of that? Think of in their shoes in that way, that maybe they're happy that they can show you how much they care and don't take that from them. So it's true. And I'm sure you've seen this, Dan. People want to help you.
I'll tell you. Can I answer that? Can I speak to that?
Absolutely.
I'll say, I kind of glossed over that, but yes, I agree with you, Robert. And I had a hard time with that because I'm a go-getter and because I'm very self-sufficient, very independent, and very just I go after the things that I want and that I draw, and I make my dreams come true. And I always have done that. And so when something like this happens, it's well, I want to do this myself, but I can't, and it makes me it would make anybody feel weird. But so there was some hard moments for sure between straightening of our relationship during that time. But you're right. I needed to embrace and receive that, and I tried to do that more openly and abundantly as time goes on.
Yes. Because I know you're still healing. Do you want to explain what's going on with your arm now? and what you can and can't do. But you're actually writing with your other hand now, right?
I was always right-handed, so I'm right-handed, and
I thought that was the arm
my
that
left
was
arm,
your left arm was affected.
my left arm was the arm that was affected.
Oh,
Left arm was affected. The left leg, left arm. So like the stroke
That's
is
good.
on the right side of the brain,
Mhm.
and the obviously that affects everything on the left side of your body.
yeah.
So the left side of my jaw was, jacked up for a while, but my speech came back pretty quickly, and which was nice. And I never lost my cognitive abilities, which is, thank God, I never did. And I was able to. I tested myself in the hospital, doing calculus, doing other math problems. Like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And I couldn't. My motor functions were kind of off. So these days, I mean, I can walk around the house. I don't use a cane around the house or anything like that. I do bring a cane with me when I'm out in public, because you never know. Because I'm used to the terrain in my house. I'm not used to all terrain out there, and maybe I might trip up, and I don't want to fall, of course. So I do wear it's a cane, not a quad cane, just a normal cane. Walk around, and I do travel. I jump on planes a lot to go for work, and
Just wonderful. Yeah, he's been traveling, you guys, since before the supposedly before the pandemic hit in January of 2020. Whether or not that's right, the timing, but doesn't matter. But he was traveling in January 2020, and then also in July of 2020. 2021? No, 2020.
Oh, I've traveled a whole lot more than that. I came to Denver those times.
Yeah.
I was in Denver, Colorado, January and July of 2020.
Yeah.
However, my very first traveling was actually 2 months after I got out of rehab.
Wow.
I had a client that I was working with before the stroke, and we were scheduled to go out there and shoot in December. So I went into rehab on like the 8th or the 9th or something like that of October, and then I was out like the first couple of days of November, and in a month after that, I was in Chicago again. I was in Chicago. My wife came with me, and I actually shot video and film for her new online course for like 3 days straight. I did that and of course I wasn't in the condition I am now, but I had a big brace on my leg and all that kind of stuff. But I decided I could have easily copped out and said, I can't do this because of the stroke. I'm like, I decided, no, this is going to be hard. I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it because I need to. My body needs to do it.
Your brain too. Your brain.
My brain.
You're
Exactly.
telling yourself you can still do this stuff. You can still do that, and you don't want to say no, because minute you start saying no to things, you're like, oh, okay. You're copping out essentially, and you're not that type of person. That's what I wanted people to understand about you, is that if something like this happens to you, even, I don't want to say the big C19 word as we say it, but I know people that have suffered pretty traumatically with their lungs and everything else, and their whole brain thought is, I can't really breathe right now very well, but I'm still here, and so I'm going to start doing everything I need to do, get as healthy as I can get, take the supplements or whatever they want me to take, to bring myself back. And so, you're an inspiration for people too.
Well, thank you. And it's like, and it brought me back to like, bringing more people on to do things that I physically can't do. And that was a big leap for me too. Not just my wife, but like, all right, I have a team of people, but I had to go out and hire more, because I used to do a whole lot more with my hands, of course. So now I've hired during 2020, I hired a whole lot more people. So I was employing more people during the pandemic time, when everybody else was like losing jobs and incomes, and it was kind of crazy. And we were able to do work. A lot of it was remote, so we didn't have to travel. They could be working on stuff remotely. Right.
Yeah, and that's good, because everybody thinks there are no jobs, and there were no jobs being created, but actually there were, and I've seen it too, of companies that have done really well, just because sometimes working from home, people are getting more done. Could be, but they're not walking to the coffee cooler, the water cooler, or the coffee pot so much to talk to everybody, right? Taking a smoking break if you do that, So, it seems as though people are getting quite a bit more done. Now, whether or not they want to go back and want to stay at home and do this still, that's up to companies.
A lot of companies are re-looking at that, like, oh, we can't
Mm-hmm.
have remote workers before. Now they're looking at it, go, well, maybe we can, and they're saving lots of money too. Big companies, so like, let's have our, half of the time, quarter of the time be remote, and they're saving lots of money for doing all that stuff. Anyway, it's just opening up new thought patterns and new ways to think about things of how we can be the best we can be. And for me, it's like, hey, okay, I have to just humble myself to the fact that there's certain things that I cannot do physically at this point. And I'm fine with that. And I bring other people on to do those things.
Right.
I hire them and I pay them to do those things and to work with me and to, basically kind of learn from me from my industry. And I'm teaching them because the brains are here, and sometimes I can't translate that into a body motion or do that or hold that camera or whatever, get that particular shot that I used to be able to get. Now I can have other people that are doing that want to learn, and I can teach them and be the mastermind behind it. And I'm perfectly fine with that now.
That's why you're the imagination IQ guy.
True.
Right?
Yeah. Bring both of those together. Bring that analytical side and the imagination together, and some magic in that.
Yeah. So will you tell everybody a little bit more about your company, because we're going to be done in about, 8 minutes or so, but also your book and where they can get your book.
Sure. My company is the Imagination Institute, and we've been around since we've been incorporated since 2014, because I was initially starting to do live events, as I'm still doing live events, and we're going to be coming back and doing live events more after these things are starting to ease up a bit, which I'm excited about. But Imagination IQ is a part of the Imagination Institute. It's the live events section. We just had our last live event was in Denver in May of 2018, and then we had a year break in the 19. I was planning on coming back in 2020, but that changed, of course. But that's all right. We'll be coming back probably in 2022. Yeah. And so the Imagination Institute, we are here to help train individuals, especially entrepreneurs, who are looking to create that lifestyle, the life of their dreams, not just talk about it, but actually show you principles, spiritual, energetic, as well as practical business principles to help you go from where you are to where you want to go, to create that intention that you have, that dream that you have. And we talk a lot about manifesting, but it's not just manifesting. Manifest is not just woo-woo. It's more like woo and do. Woo-do. That's what I call it. So it's like, hey, there's things that one must do in order to get that woo-woo to feel like woo-woo. There are processes to go. And once you understand the science behind it, then you can replicate that over and over and over again and get the things that you desire in your life, in your business, in your relationships, etc. And that's what the stuff that I use. That's the stuff that my clients use. And we are constantly building and creating new things that we love and enjoy and bring us joy. I mean, if you want to become successful in life, in business, you better be doing something that brings you joy. Because if it doesn't, it's just a job, and it's just like I'm doing it for money, and that's not what a business can be. I mean, if you're just doing a business just to make money, then the joy is going to be sucked out of that really, really fast. Make sure you're doing something you love to do, and make sure you got a positive and very powerful system around it that you can replicate results. And that's what we're all about at Imagination Institute, how to think not just outside the box, but to actually destroy the box completely. There is no box.
Right. And also,
and the book, I mean, the book with Raw Resilience that just came out here recently. But you can go ahead and you can go to the website on the imaginationinstitute.com. There should be a link there on the homepage if you want to grab that, or you can just go straight to like rawresilience.com as well, and you can get the book. I bought a whole ton of these books, and I'm just giving those away, as many of them as I can, for free. You just pay shipping and handling for letting me ship it to you, so I don't lose my shirt. But yeah, if you want the book, it's a totally quick read, but it's something that you could come back to again. That is something that's not going to be overpowering, like content-wise, but it should be powerful tools that you're going to be able to use day in and day out to build your reserve of resilience. So when the storms do come, you are ready for them, and you can stand your ground as well as move forward at the same time.
So I'm just going to let you know, Dan, is it Robert Murray who keeps saying these great comments? He's actually in Alaska. He lives on a homestead his grandfather had before he passed for years. I mean, I don't even know how many years they had that homestead, but he's there. He doesn't even have neighbors like within, I don't know how many miles, Robert, a lot. And he doesn't have neighbors that you can see. I mean, his neighbors are the moose and the bears. Moose and bears.
That's awesome. So, I love that. I'm not quite like that. I do have land around my, around my house, but it's not that. I can actually look probably about a quarter mile and I can see my neighbor. But so I'm not that remote, but I do enjoy the space for sure.
Yeah, he says he's going to be checking you out. Yeah, he says I'll check you out.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it.
But he also, I mean, there's not even there's like a corner store type of thing. I don't even know how many miles away it is. I don't know, 10 miles, 20 miles. So he doesn't have running water half the time. Electricity goes out. We'll be on Zoom calls or something or on StreamYard. And all of a sudden, he's almost like going up and it's like this. Oh, yes, he has a mile, or he has a neighbor that's a mile away. Oh, I thought it was further than that. But all of a sudden he goes, it's almost like he's going up into the Star Trek spaceship. Then all of a sudden he comes back in. We're like, he'll be back. It's so funny because we just never know. Like, is we outside by a bear? Like, where's the guy? Right. So we love having in our class. That's where we met. But yeah, so that's why he keeps commenting, because he's one of the entrepreneurs out there that could probably learn a lot from your company and your classes and things like that. There's a whole bunch of people on here right now that are in this class. So that are startups and they're trying to make a difference in the world. He just got somebody on his podcast from the middle of Africa. Seriously.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Like he definitely, and here's Carl. He's logging in from England.
Hey, Carl. Yeah. There's so many people out there that are looking for inspiration and encouragement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to get that 1%. It's just that 1% or that 1 degree dial change that could change your entire existence.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm all about. It's like, all right, how can I imagine a better future? How can I receive more? How can I receive more with my body this way now? Right. How can I look into that? Why am I where I'm at? And how can I receive more? Mm-hmm. So my questions to myself every morning, actually, in the mirror. Hey, so why am I where I'm at right now? What has led to this point? And like moving forward, how can I receive more? How can I receive more love? How can I receive more connection? How can I receive more money, maybe? Whatever it is. How can I receive more clients?
Right.
It's the same question. Same entry.
Oh, he just said, I just said that his county store is 10 miles away.
Well, so, okay. No. You were right.
I'm like,
right. You said 10 first. You said 10 and then 20.
I did say 10 first. I'm like, maybe 20, maybe 1. No, I didn't think his neighbor was a mile away. But because of COVID, a lot of them up in Alaska are not. Like with the a lot of what's going on in Alaska, when everybody wants to go up there, right, and see the natives and the everybody in their igloos and everything else, right? Well, they're blocking off those areas because they're so, especially with the Native Americans up there, there's so few of them now in a lot of these little tribal nations that they don't want anybody in there to bring the COVID in by accident, because it will wipe out that entire nation, the entire Indian nation that we don't even have down here in the States. Yeah. So they're being very, very careful up there. So what do you say? Oh, he wanted to say here, he wrote, "That's right, Chris." And he goes, "Ha, Dan." He goes, "Dan, haha, sorry." Because there's no name tag. I know, I don't know what happened to our name tags down here, but sorry. I'm learning. But anyway, like whatever.
I think it disappears when you put up their chat. But it's all right. You guys know who I am by this point. If not, you can hit rewatch.
You guys, it's Dan Fowler. But anyway, I will have all your information up underneath the video. Thank you so much for being on today, Dan. You look fabulous.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you're okay. I really am.
Me too. And it's a constant process. I mean, healing doesn't just happen like that. Healing is an ongoing thing. And you have to be mentally sound as well as, physically sound to be able to continue the healing process.
You do. And stay healthy in California, because all we hear is doom and gloom about California. But it sounds like things are getting better.
It's not doom and gloom. It's media sensation about a lot of those things. There's things that are wrong in every state, for sure.
Exactly.
Or whatever. But yeah. But hey, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thank you, Dan. Love you to death. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.